we start the recording and we start. So this one. Well, we go on with the speaking about working in general practice. And first, I would like you to focus on. I would like to say some words about the homework that you've done for today's class. Well, somebody else is coming. Okay. Well, so the home task was to write an essay which answers the question: is there a difference in working in city, urban, and rural areas in your home country? And I've read a lot of essays, and so I should say that sometimes students do not think about the structure of the essay, and there are no paragraphs in the essay. So you should remember that you should have divided the essay into several paragraphs. And what kind of ideas should we read in each paragraph? So each paragraph should say about only one idea. We just describe one idea, one thought, and we also give examples. We illustrate this idea. And if we have a different idea, it should be given in the next paragraph. So the number of paragraphs depends on the number of ideas that you have to share. Well, and so if we speak about the structure of the essay, it should have several parts. It should have the introductory part, introduction. In the introduction, you write what you are going to write about, some introductory words, phrases. So in the body can be 2-3 paragraphs, depending on the number of ideas and depending on the word limit that you are given. And so several paragraphs. This is the body, and each idea should be supported by example. And the third part is conclusion. In the conclusion, you summarize what you have written in the body. So this is the simplest explanation, and you should follow this. Because I noticed that some of the students do not think about this and just give the information, and they do not summarize what they described. And so when you write something in letters or in essays, some research paper, you shouldn't use contracted forms of words. So I've met such phrases as given here. You are getting like and no of people, which I guess stands for number of people. You shouldn't use this phrase. This is the conversational phrase, so you should use the whole phrase like it's given in here. Well, and so I would also like to focus on some typical mistakes that I've met in some of the essays. I would like you to look at these sentences and phrases and let us think what is wrong with these phrases. Manish, what about the first line here?
People doesn't believe in.
Is everything okay here in this phrase?
Yes.
Do you all agree?
People does not.
It should be people.
It should be, ma'am.
Don't, I guess.
It should be what?
People don't believe.
People
Don't believe
does
it.
not.
Yes, exactly. So when we speak about the use of auxiliaries in the present simple, we should remember that we use do or does, yes, don't or doesn't. And people is the plural form of one person, many people, right? That is why we do not need does, we need do here. Don't believe, okay? So, Pradeep Kumar, are you here? No. Rohita? Rohita?
Yes, ma'am.
So read the
Yes, ma'am.
next line, please.
Doctors in urban areas are usually more educated than in rural areas.
What is wrong in this sentence? Something, there is a problem here. So, who can see the mistake?
Yes.
Then
Yes.
Educated then.
Then we should use
Then.
than. When we compare two objects or two things, we use more educated than, okay, not then, because then means first I did something and then I did the other thing, okay? Well, Vanesh, the next line is for you. Vanesh?
Yes, ma'am. It's create a wider scope of treatment.
Mhm. What is the mistake?
Wider, ma'am.
Yes?
Further treatment.
What's wrong here?
Wide scope for the treatment.
wide scope of treatment.
Well, I'm speaking about grammar. So what is the key here?
Creates.
Because this is third person singular. It requires s.
Creative.
Yes, at the end it creates. Okay, then Sohita. Sohita, are you here? No, Sohita. Afnan?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Sohita?
The special
Sohita, please.
money structure. Yes, ma'am. A specialty field, money and infrastructure creates an opinion in choosing the workplace.
Mhm. You mean the mistake is where?
The article before opinion,
Exactly.
I think, ma'am.
Is this the only mistake in this sentence, or are there any other mistakes?
Specialty field, money. And I think specialty wrong. It should
Specialty.
either be the field or specialty. I mean, it's like field.
The field, money and
It's like a
infrastructure.
Okay. I mean, if we look at the form of the verb here, is everything okay with the verb? Where's the verb?
create and
Create.
choosing.
It should be create, yes? Mhm. Because we have as a subject, there are several words, field, money, and infrastructure. So that is why there shouldn't be s at the end of the verb here. Mhm. So here are the sentences. Yes. Mhm. Okay, and then if we continue speaking about your essays, so I should say that we should avoid plagiarism. And plagiarism is a big problem with your essays. So you know that plagiarism means writing ideas from any source and not acknowledging that source. In other words, to plagiarize is to use another person's words and to pretend that they are your own words. And so we may copy a work, but something, part of work, but you must show your reader that it is copied. So you should mention the source where you have taken this information from. You haven't done this. I mean that, for example, if you say about the percentage of people living in urban areas and how many people live in rural areas, you give the exact numbers. So have you done the research yourself? Have you counted the number of people in cities and in villages yourself? No, of course. So you've used some kind of resource, so you should say according to site and give the name of the resource, according to the author, and give the name of the author. So you should work like this. You should avoid plagiarism. Okay. And here are very bright examples of plagiarism. So I mean that there were some students from your group that first I thought that it was like because the students used one and the same source of information. But then when I compared the papers of different students, for example, like these ones, I see that even in the title, so the same words were underlined. It was just, I see that they were just copied, one student copied from another student's paper. So shame on you. And well, and I just scored these essays like 0. So you shouldn't do this. I understand that there were some other papers, maybe which you've just copied from the internet. You should personalize the information that you use, you've taken from the internet. You should add something. You should add the structure, add some connectors, so the opinion about this. Or it's better to write something yourself. Well, this is also the same example of plagiarism from another student. And yes, one more. And here also, even the design of the essay was copied from the student. I mean, so using different colors for title and for the main body of the essay. So even without reading, I can understand that something wrong with these 2 essays. And of course, I don't like this when I start reading the essays and I see that I've seen this already somewhere. I need to go back and to download all the other essays which I have already read, and so compare. And of course, I don't like just when students are cheating. So how to avoid plagiarism? So one of the ways to avoid plagiarism is paraphrasing. So to paraphrase is to include the ideas or information from an original source in your paper by rephrasing those ideas in your own words. It means that you've found some useful, attractive source of information. You've read this and you should put it aside, and you shouldn't just copy paste, but you should put it aside and write, express the same ideas with the same words, and also write that you found this information, give the link or just the name of the author. And so there is the specific just way of paraphrasing sentences. So you may you should use synonyms. There are some sites that can help you in paraphrasing, or you may use the dictionary and you use the synonyms instead of the original words which I used in the original sentence. But it is also considered plagiarism if you don't just give the link to the author of this information. Or you may change the structure of the sentence, and it will look different. Okay. Do you have any questions about your home task? Is everything clear?
Yes, ma'am.
So I mean,
Yes.
mhm. I mean that not all the students just sent me their essays. Yes. Juanesh, are you here? No. Okay, and I also the task on the side was
Yes, ma'am.
Juanesh,
Yes, ma'am.
have you written the essay, Juanesh?
Ma'am, no, ma'am. It was late to submit, so that I left it.
I see. Okay. And one more thing, that the task on the site, it says that you should have written the essay by hand. It should be given in handwriting. Some of the students just printed the essay. That is why the score is a little bit lower, 8 out of 10 points. You see? Okay. Well, if you don't have any questions, let's move on, and let's go back to speaking about general practice. And today we are going to start with the listening task. Let us listen to the conversation between Mr. Bloomfield. Mr. Bloomfield is a 20-year-old civil servant. He is talking to a local general practitioner, Dr. Dixon. We will look at the notes and discuss why the past medical history, family history, personal and social history, and drugs and allergy history are important. So let us have a look at the phrases which are given here, the definitions for civil servant. I guess you know this. This is an employee of the government. For example, like a teacher or a doctor. So the government pays to these people. And locum GP, a general practitioner who stands in for another doctor who is temporarily away on holiday or off sick. So, and if we move to the next slide. Yes. And here you can see, so the information that we need to complete, there are several gaps on this page, and we should complete the gaps with the words. And you can see, just to be sure that we understand everything, let us look through these notes, and you can see that here there are some words so that we need to understand. PC. Do you have any idea what it means, PC? Is it personal computer or what?
Yes, ma'am.
Unfortunately, no. Do you remember what we were speaking about? We were speaking about PC.
Personal chat.
Oh, Case study.
Patient's chart.
Patient.
It's warmer. Yes. Something connected with patients. And what do patients do when they come to a doctor?
Checkup. Patients check.
Patient's checkup.
They say, doctor, it hurts on this side and I have a sore throat. It's so bad. What do they say? What do we call this kind of words?
Condition.
Condition.
and they say, it's so bad, doctor. So I need your help. So what do they do? They complain about this, yes? This is
Patient. Okay.
presenting complaint. We were speaking about this, presenting complaint. Okay, and then the next abbreviation here, this is HPC. This is history of presenting complaint. And then we have PMH.
Pre-medical history.
This is post-medical history.
Post. Okay.
Post-medical history, okay. Well, and yes. Mhm. And there are some words which will help us to understand everything. So this is contributory, helping to cause, precipitants. Precipitants, factors which cause something. Why adjective? Should be noun. And siblings. I hope you know this word. This is brothers and sisters. And so now we are starting listening. Please look through the notes. Is everything clear with the notes?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Now I'm starting the recording and you'll tell me if you hear or not.
Listening to. Good morning,
Yes,
Mr.
ma'am.
Bloomfield.
You hear, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Let's start one more time.
Listening to. Good morning, Mr. Bloomfield. My name's Dr. Dixon. I'm a locum GP standing in for Dr. Wright. What can we do for you?
I've been having some problems with my breathing.
Can you tell me a little bit more about this?
Well, I keep getting breathlessness and wheezing in my chest. It all started about 3 weeks ago, and I've been coughing a lot with it. Some white phlegm. I thought it might be a cold coming on, but then after about another week, I started finding it more and more difficult to catch my breath.
Right. So you've had the wheezing and the breathlessness for roughly 3 weeks.
Yes, give or take a day.
And do you get these bouts of wheezing and shortness of breath every day?
No, they come and go.
How frequently do you get them?
The first week there was only one, I think, and then they started getting worse, 3-4 times a week. It's not being able to get my breath that's really worrying.
And so the attacks, have they increased in the past 2 weeks?
Yes, they're much more frequent.
Okay. When do the attacks come on?
At any time, but they seem to be worse at night and in the morning.
Have you noticed any change in the severity of the attacks, especially in the morning?
Yeah,
Do they wake you up at night?
about 3 times a week.
I see. You been off work at all?
No, but I nearly didn't go in yesterday.
Was that the worst so far?
Yeah.
And have you had anything else with it?
I've felt a bit tight across the chest.
Any pain with it?
No, just tightness.
Are you aware of anything that triggers the attacks?
Like what?
Dust, feathers, new carpets?
No, I can't really say I am.
Okay. Have you had any infections recently, like flu or sore throat or chest infection?
No, not for a long time, except this.
And what about medications? Are you taking anything?
No,
No aspirin?
no,
Are you doing any exercise? Jogging, for instance?
no.
What about pets? Do you have pets at home?
No, but my neighbours have a cat, but I don't see it that much.
Everything okay at home?
Yeah, things are fine.
And what about work? I see you're a civil servant. Any stress or problems at work or anything like that?
Work's been getting me down recently.
In what way?
Well, there's been a lot of changes going on recently, and I suppose I'm a bit anxious, what with the mortgage and that.
And this has been getting to you?
Yes, more and more.
I see. And does the wheezing, etc., continue over the weekends?
No. When I come to think about it, it doesn't.
Okay. Some general questions. Have you ever had anything like this before?
No, never.
Do you have other illnesses? High blood pressure, diabetes, or heart problems?
No, nothing like that. This is the first time I've been ill in my life.
Has anyone in your family had anything similar?
No, not as far as I know.
What about eczema? Anyone in your family with that?
Both my sister and my mother have it.
No? Do we understand everything?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Let us check what we do understand, and let us listen to Rohita about presenting complaint, the first phrases. Rohita, are you here?
Yes, ma'am.
So
Yes, ma'am.
read it, please. Number one,
Ma'am,
number
which one, ma'am? First one, ma'am. Attack was.
sorry, will you repeat? The connection is bad.
Ma'am, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, ma'am. First one, ma'am. Attack was that one, ma'am.
What about 2, 3, 4? Okay, who can help us? Who has got this information?
White plague, wheezing,
Wheezing, white flame. Productive what? What causes white phlegm?
Cough.
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 Yes. Productive cough. And he was also speaking wheezing and when a person can't breathe correctly. So this is
chest pain,
Okay, this is already given, just breathlessness, yes? Okay. Well, history of presenting complaint, let us listen to Vanesh. This paragraph. Vanesh, are you with us?
Yes, ma'am.
So, attacks worse. When? When are attacks worse?
It's severe conditions.
Who can help us with 5 and 6?
day and night,
Morning and night.
Day and night.
Morning and night.
Day and night.
Night. Okay, at night and in the morning. Then,
3 to 4.
Vanesh.
Yes. Cough wakes patient about night times.
About how many times a week?
3 to 4.
3 to 4 times a
3
week.
times
Okay. So other symptoms. So who can tell us? Number 8. What is number 8?
Yes.
Tightness.
chest tightening,
Yes.
Tightness.
Okay. Chest tightness. Contributory causes. So he was speaking about precipitants, some triggers of coughing. Yes. And about dust, pets. What did the patient answer?
he has no precipitants, ma'am.
Yes. No, we can use here known. No known precipitants. Okay, and what does history suggest?
No previous past history. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, what does history suggest? What should we write in number 10?
No past history,
Okay. And in no history of what attacks here?
past attacks,
Past or previous attacks, yes? And
Yes,
family
ma'am.
history?
Not.
No.
No, ma'am. It's
Yes.
So the patient, the doctor asked, and the patient just says yes about some disease that members of his family suffer from. What kind of disease is it?
Eczema.
Yes, eczema. They were speaking about eczema. Okay, okay. This is the diagnosis that we can so use in this situation. Okay, you see that it's very important for the doctor to get information about the family and the living conditions of a person to speak about diagnosis. Okay, and yes. Now we are going to speak more about signs and symptoms of different diseases. So we should differentiate between sign and symptom. So what is obvious to the doctor is not cannot be understood, for example, by a patient. So this is a sign, an indication of illness that the doctor sees, but which is not apparent to the patient. This is sign for a doctor. And a symptom is more serious, just a thing. This is what the patient notices himself or herself, and sometimes signs can be classified as symptoms and vice versa. But the main thing that sign is for the doctor and symptom is more obvious for both of them and for the patient too. Now, let us have a look at this slide, and there is a list of signs and symptoms, condition A. So we have such signs as symptoms as blocked nose, raised temperature, so tender over sinuses, headache, worse on bending, and runny nose. So we should analyze and think whether they are signs or symptoms. Are
They
they?
are symptom.
Symptoms.
I mean, which of them are signs and which of them are symptoms?
Blocked nose
One,
and raised
two.
temperature and running nose are symptoms.
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 1 to 5.
Tender over sinus headache.
Tender over
was-
sinus headache, words on bending.
That are signs.
Signs.
science.
So this is what the patient himself can notice, right? Okay, let us check. Yes, exactly. So we can just say that all of them are symptoms, but raised temperature and tender over sinuses may be obvious to, maybe visible to a doctor only. So that is why it can be a sign. Well, and if we move on, here we have another group, condition B. This is the raised pulse, recent vomiting, diarrhea, dehydration, abdominal tenderness, and crampy abdominal pain. What about these things?
First one is sign.
First one is sign.
Third one is symptom.
Second
Fourth
one is symptom.
sign. Fifth one is symptom.
Fourth one is sign.
Fourth one is sign.
Fifth
2,
one is
3,
symptom.
5 are symptoms.
Dehydration, for example, what is it, a sign or a symptom?
Symptom.
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 And sometimes maybe it's a sign.
A sign, because not always the patient just sees
Cannot
that
identify.
he's dehydrated. Okay, and yes. So I don't agree about recent vomiting. This is a symptom, I think, because yes, it's a mistake because the patient knows this. Maybe this is a sign because he doesn't know what kind of disease it's connected with. Okay, so we have less than 1 minute. So, and we have 10